Hello, and welcome to Chabot News for Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. My name is Jovern Johnson. In today's news, we will be covering vaccination updates in the Bay and Tesla crash in Texas. In entertainment, Mike will cover the Suicide Squad. In sports, Frank will cover the new guideline for watching games in person. Lastly, Eric will be bringing you the top 5 countdown of the best original series from Netflix. All that and more coming up on Chabot News. A U.S. health officials race to get more COVID-19 shots in arms. Experts are now warning that we are just a few weeks away from reaching a tipping point in vaccine enthusiasm. Evan McMorris-Santoro reports.
Thank you. Thank you.
CDC data says more than 225 million COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the U.S.
This vaccine is our ticket to ride. This is our ticket to freedom, of returning back to normal life as we knew it before the pandemic.
The challenge now is making sure more American adults want to get one. The 7-day rolling average of administered shots is showing a recent dip.
Okay, I'm ready.
Some administration officials worry it might be a sign that hesitancy is slowing the pace of doses. In New York, around 30% of adults are now fully vaccinated. That's a good number, but it's nowhere near what experts estimate is needed for herd immunity.
It's somewhere between 70 and 85% of the population where you have a combination of people who are vaccinated and people who've recovered.
A new tactic is offering incentives. At the American Museum of Natural History in Manhattan, get your shot along with a free museum pass for 4.
This is one of the indispensable places in this entire city, and that's saying a lot, because it's a city full of magical places.
We want to make sure that New Yorkers understand the importance of getting vaccinated, but also that we get people to feel comfortable in the setting.
Other vaccine incentives range from free donuts to free beer. After the CDC and FDA lifted the pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, there's a hope among health experts that this cautious approach will convince more Americans that getting vaccinated is safe.
When that system works, as it did in this case, it identifies signals that potentially could be problematic and require further investigation. And so we will be monitoring this going forward.
Thank you, Evan. CDC data says more than 225 million COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the U.S. The challenge now is making sure more American adults want to get one. After the CDC and FDA lifted its hold on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, there's hope among health officials that the cautious approach will convince more Americans. The Alameda County health officer joined others across the Bay Area this weekend in announcing that the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine is safe. The announcement from Bay Area officials came after the CDC and FDA said Friday that they accepted an advisory committee's recommendation to resume administration of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The Western States Scientific Safety Review Team agreed health officers urge people to get vaccines as quickly as possible and recommend that Bay Area healthcare providers resume inoculations with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Anyone who has received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine should speak to his or her doctor with concerns or severe symptoms within 3 weeks of receiving the vaccine, officials said. A deadly crash in Texas is raising questions about the safety of Tesla's autopilot feature. Police say nobody was sitting in the driver's seat when the car crashed and killed both people inside. Despite Tesla's assurance, autopilot only works with the driver behind the wheel. As CNN Pete's Montine reports, with at least 28 open investigations into Tesla incidents, lawmakers are warning Tesla's safety concerns are becoming a worrisome pattern.
Autopilot is the futuristic Tesla feature that drivers love.
Look at this! We're on autopilot!
Tesla says the system is designed to reduce the workload of attentive drivers. But it is facing new scrutiny after this crash in a Texas neighborhood last week. Police say this 2019 Tesla Model S slammed into a tree with nobody in the driver's seat. Both men on board died.
The Tesla Design Studio.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk says car data logs recovered so far show autopilot was not enabled. Even still, the crash prompted 2 federal investigations and a demonstration by Consumer Reports.
No one should operate their car like this on the road.
On a closed course, test drivers say they were able to easily trick autopilot into operating without somebody behind the wheel. The driver sets the system's speed to 0 and climbs into the passenger seat while the driver's side seatbelt remains buckled.
I was able to increase the set speed by turning the wheel on the steering wheel. And at this point, it was completely driving on autopilot with no one in the driver's seat.
I was horrified when I saw what was possible.
William Wallace heads safety policy for Consumer Reports.
Effectively, Consumer Reports tricked the system, and we only did it to demonstrate just how much more is needed from Tesla when it comes to safety.
In a new letter, a pair of Senate Democrats are demanding a swift investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The agency has 24 open investigations into Tesla incidents. In the letter, Senator Richard Blumenthal says he's worried Tesla safety concerns are becoming a pattern.
There needs to be immediate investigation and intervention by the federal agencies, but Tesla itself bears a moral and likely legal responsibility to do more and do better to protect its drivers.
Thank you, Pete. The event at a Bay Area school, initially described in an email from a district official as a white student support circle, has been canceled. The organizer of the event, Dr. Cheryl Wazanaki, Assistant Superintendent, Educational Services at Piedmont Unified School District, issued an apology to the community after the initial email sparked backlash. East Bay Municipal Utility District officials declared a Stage 1 drought on Tuesday, asking residents to cut down their water consumption as the region faces its driest year on record amid statewide drought conditions. Rainfall in the East Bay has been even worse, creating the driest year on record, and rainfall expected last weekend did not materialize. Now we go to Mike for entertainment news this week.
Thanks, Chauvin. To kill or not to kill, All Suicide Squad was the answer James Gunn got once Warner Bros. Came a-knocking. The popular writer and director were immediately called by Warner Bros. Once the controversial tweets of James Gunn after directing the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 movie. Even co-stars coming to his defense when it happened, but that's all behind him now, and out of his 3 ideas, 2 DC projects, and 1 of his original ideas, James Gunn came through and was excited to help bring Suicide Squad to the big screen, with the whole studio giving him the go-ahead to do whatever with the characters that he wanted, as, quote, "They were very trusting of me throughout the entire process, almost to the degree to which I was frightened because it was really all me, 100%. There's no one to blame if something goes wrong, except for myself. They said I could keep all the characters or do with all of them." Gunn said, "I could do a completely new squad," which I considered, and they said, "You can kill anyone." Warner Bros. Was pretty much on board with the story from the beginning. It was pretty much firmly in place from the inception of taking on the project, end quote. Make sure to keep an eye out for this movie in theaters and HBO Max August 3rd. Chrono Shift is a small fan-operated programming team that wanted to play older versions of the popular MOBA or multiplayer online battle arena League of Legends. Riot Games, the developers of the popular game, sent a cease and desist order was filed to the company. After a heated conversation with Riot's security department, which ended with Zed, the Riot employee sending this matter to the legal team, and ultimately had Chrono Shift comply with the order reluctantly. Having the Chrono Shift team comparing this to extortion of their source code for their legacy project, with Riot demanding the source code but denying using it, saying it's a waste of developer time if they were to focus on this venture. But for sure, this smells foul. And if Riot goes ahead with their own League of Legends legacy or older version of the game. But what do you think? Is this foul or fair on Riot's end? That's it for entertainment news this week. Now back to you, Joe Verne.
Thanks, Mike. Good news coming from Oakland Bay Area. This week, Oakland Tech High School senior Ahmad Muhammad is named class valedictorian, making history as the first black male student to hold that title at the school. He's also been accepted to all 11 colleges he applied to, including Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. Muhammad will be recognized with the distinction of having the highest academic rank in his class, finishing his 4 years at Tech with a cumulative 4.7 grade point average. In addition, he received a score of 1540 with a perfect 800 in the math section and a 740 in reading and writing section. Not to mention, he was an integral part of the Bulldogs basketball team. Wow, that's really amazing news. Congratulations to Muhammad and continued success from us here at Chabot College. Now we go to Frank for the latest with sports news.
Thanks, Joe Vern. Vaccinated Dodgers fans can now get back into America's pastime pre-pandemic style. The Los Angeles Dodgers are opening up a special section for their stadium for fans who have proved it's been 2 weeks since the final vaccine dose. The section will still require face coverings, but no social distancing will be enforced. It is also open up to kids 2 to 15 years old who can show a negative COVID test within the past 72 hours. The San Francisco Giants announced they will be doing the same thing. Fans who have been fully vaccinated will be given the option to sit in a designated fully vaccinated section. At the home games at Oracle Park, the team will debut the program Thursday night as the Giants host the Miami Marlins. The Australia's National Cabinet announced Tuesday, that the athletes and staff heading to Japan in July for the Tokyo Olympic and the Paralympic Games have been granted access to the COVID-19 vaccines. Approximately 2,050 Australians will be able to take the vaccine, comprised of Pfizer and AstraZeneca, for those over 50. The Australian Olympic Committee welcomed the decision, saying that this provides comfort for athletes and officials. The opening ceremony for the postponed Tokyo 2020 Games is set for July 23, 2021. That's it for sports news this week, and now back to you, Joe Vern.
Thanks, Frank. A 250-year-old bottle of whiskey is set to be auctioned. Skinner Auctioneer says the bourbon is the oldest whiskey in existence. The company believes the bottle was originally a gift and it's been safeguarded for generations. The front of the old Ingledew whiskey bottle says it's from Evans Wrangling in LaGrange, Georgia. The back features a typed note taped to the glass that says, "This bourbon was probably made before 1865. Skinner Auctioneer says they used a needle to extract a small sample of the liquid to be sent off for testing by experts. Scientists from the University of Georgia determined the whiskey was likely bottled between 1763 to 1803. The bourbon is set to be auctioned at the end of June for $20,000 to $40,000. Now we go to Eric for this week's Top 5.
Thanks, Joe Vern. At this point, your nightly scroll around Netflix is as much of a staple in your routine as brushing your teeth. This year, Netflix is dishing out something for everyone. So enjoy this Top 5 countdown, showcasing the best original series Netflix has to offer. Coming in at number 5 is The Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer. This 4-part docuseries chronicles the crimes and investigation timeline in the infamous Night Stalker case that happened here in California. Number 4 is Pretend It's a City. Discover New York City with the guidance of legendary writer and humorist Fran Lebowitz. The documentary serves as both a roast and celebration of New York's quirks and foul smells with love and honesty. Number 3 is Murder Among the Mormons. It's an unbelievable tale of crime and deception that shook the Latter-day Saints Church in 1985, Salt Lake City, and it will undoubtedly shock you too. Number 2 is The Serpent, with drugging and robberies. It's not for the faint of heart. It's an 8-part dramatic retelling of terrifying real-life crimes around Asia in the 1970s. And coming in at number 1 is Last Chance U Basketball. Expect to shed a tear or two on this show, which follows the hopeful D1 athletes at East Los Angeles College. Touching, hilarious, and raw, this season is surely not to be missed. Be sure to check out these shows today. And that's all for this week's Top 5. Now back to you, Joe Vern.
Thanks, Eric. That's all for Chabot News this week. Remember, Black Lives Matter and Asian Lives Matter. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned to KCTH Channel 27 for more Chabot TV.